So I was actually going to do another video, but before I got out here to record, Jon Prosser dropped his latest video. Now, we haven't heard from Jon in a long time, and a lot of people have been wondering where he's been, and he's been cooking up something pretty cool. So I figured I would go back to my reaction series. I did a reaction video not too long ago of iPhone 12 reviews, and people seem to really like it. If you haven't seen that, I'll leave a link in the description and on the end screens. You might like it. If you like this video, I think you're going to like that one. And I texted Jon, and I'm like, you know what? I think I'm going to react to this. And he seems okay with it, so I guess we're going to do that. So let's take a look at Jon Prosser's latest video and my reactions to it right after this.
This is, you listening to Travis.
What up, players? Welcome back. And for all you new people, welcome. My name's Travis, and I do tech videos every single week and have a blast doing them. If that sounds like fun to you, sit back, relax, and enjoy the video. Anything I talk about will be in the description below. But for now, let's just get into the video. So Prosser is back, and I actually know a little bit about this video. I know a little bit of behind the scenes about it. But let me tell you something. This is a new level of Jon Prosser, and it gives a lot of information about leakers. I actually have done a video about Jon Prosser and his leaking on this channel before, so make sure you check that out. Again, I'll put links in the description and everything like that. So if you want to know a little bit more about the behind the scenes of Jon Prosser, I have that video. But this one is pretty good. And there's some things about this video that you don't know, some of the background story of how this video came to be. And I'm gonna tell you some of that. I can't wait. But I'm not gonna do it here. I'm gonna go back to my studio where I do my live streams on Saturday morning and my podcast, GadgetCast. Link for GadgetCast in the description. If you like tech podcasts, you're gonna love that. But more importantly, it's where I do my Saturday morning live streams. And I know there's a bunch of people in the comment section right now from my Saturday morning live stream. So what up, players? Good to see you. If you ever wanted to check out the Saturday morning live streams, make sure you hit the subscribe and the bell notification. And then you'll understand why there's so many hashtags below and you don't know what they mean. But without any further ado, let's get back to the studio. All right, so we're gonna get going. I will tell you this, I actually know a little bit of some of the behind the scenes of what happened during some of these time periods, and I'll be happy to share that with you as we watch this. Looking forward to seeing my good friend Jon explain what went on and how he ruined Apple leaking forever. I'm super excited.
April 15th, 2020. That's the day that the iPhone SE 2 came out, but it's also the day that changed...
Bro, going for that edit, baby. Let's go. Let's get it. Let's go.
...the culture of leaking. Hi, I'm Jon Prosser, and I ruined Apple leaks.
Bruh, I need some editing like this. Can someone help me out with this? Because my stuff does not look like this.
Okay, so to explain how all of this happened, we have to go back a bit. You see,
Bro, I don't even know how to make a transition like that. I know that like there's a bunch of people that have been on YouTube for a lot less time than me. I don't know how to do that. I mean, I would probably do stuff like that more in my videos where you go, brrr. Like, I can't do that, son. I just cut and then put it, and then you see me, and then I make faces. That's my video. I can't do this.
In February of 2020, I leaked the prices of the Galaxy S20, the S20 Plus, and the S20 Ultra. I followed that up by leaking the first real-life pictures of the phones before the event. And at that time, the prices that I leaked seemed, well, too high. And because of that, a ton of people just didn't believe me, even established leakers.
And here's the thing, if you remember back to that time, this is just a year after the Galaxy S10 series of phones, where this S10e was only $749. So it didn't make a lot of sense to start an entire series of phones at $1,000. Of course, Samsung did that. Probably wasn't a good idea in retrospect, but they did it.
It's that moment right there. There's something about how this felt for me.
Now, let me tell you something. Jon's a good friend of mine, but I'm gonna be real honest with this. This stroked his ego in a way that you cannot do to someone who has an ego. Let me tell you something. It's like Viagra for his ego. And I think he found something that he started to fall in love with, but there's more to this story. Even some things he didn't tell you.
This image right here was the start of something new for my career. You didn't know that yet. but I think I did. I have been making videos for well over 10 years. Front Page Tech, the show, is nearly 8 years old. I've changed a lot, the show has changed a lot, and part of the reason that we've been around for so long, for so many years, is because we adapt, we change.
Now, this is actually something that Jon, as kind of a mentor to me, kind of instilled upon me, that, you know, his show constantly changes kind of every year and tweaks a little bit as you need to for an audience. And it's something that I want to do, which is one of the reasons I'm doing videos like this. It's a little bit different. I'm actually really enjoying doing these, and you have told me in the comments you kind of like this too. So if you do like this, leave me a comment below. Let me know what you think. But yeah, he constantly evolves, and any creator on YouTube that's going to stay relevant is going to have to do the same.
This whole leaking thing is just another transformation for me, for my online character and for the show. I got bored of having to cover the same news that everyone else got to cover. So instead, I wanted to be the news that everyone else had to cover.
This is really interesting because I love Jon. He definitely has an ego. You can't have an ego. You can't not have an ego, really, and be in front of a camera on YouTube and not try to give views. Like, there's a part of slight narcissism to being a YouTuber. Let's just be honest. Doesn't mean you can't be a good person. Doesn't even mean that you can't be humble. But there's a little bit of narcissism about being in front of a camera and trying to get tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands of people to watch it. I'm just being honest. I mean, yeah, that includes me.
Pretty much anyone else could make became less and less interesting to me. And because this show and my name are already established in the industry, I already had a platform, already had a following on YouTube and on Twitter, and because of that platform, all sorts of people.
Small side note here, it's actually pretty rare to have a much larger Twitter following than a YouTube following. It's pretty difficult. Jon has done some crazy stuff. The dude is blown up. By the way, follow me on Twitter, TravisMCP. You should do that. Links in the description.
And so it began. I started leaking Apple information back in March of 2020, and it was quite a few things.
Remember March of 2020 when you could kind of still live life normally? God, it seemed like such a long time ago.
None of that was enough. You see, the issue was, even though I had leaked a few things and got those few things correct, they were easily explained away. The internet could just explain them away as me just making obvious assumptions and guessing, saying they're leaks. Reddit posts everywhere were trying to discredit me, debunk me, the whole thing.
Here's the thing. Jon's been talking to me a long time about being on Reddit and hating the fact that so many people are so ridiculously disrespectful to him on Reddit. So he's been wanting to stick it to them for a while. I don't even go to Reddit anymore. I'm locked out of my account. I can't literally have a Reddit account that I made when I just started YouTube, and I'm locked out of it. So I don't go to Reddit.
Which, I mean, rightfully so, I guess, because they thought I was just guessing everything. So, fair enough. That is why April 15th and the iPhone SE were such a big deal. And because I had given an exact date, weeks and weeks in advance, this was the moment that everyone would learn and figure out if I was lying.
Now, some background on this. I talked to Jon quite a bit by text during this time period. And not only the day of, which I'll talk about in a little bit, but all the way going up to this, he was getting more and more progressively nervous because the pressure was building. He knew this was a real tentpole event for him to be able to put his stake in the ground and prove that he was someone reliable. If he messed this up, it was going to ruin him. And let me tell you something, the text messages the day of, I think he pooped himself.
Now, Prosser, you mentioned Prosser, so he's a reliable source.
He's got some pretty specific information when he has these rumors that he comes out with. It's not just, 6 months from now something might happen. It's very specific. Like I think the recent one that he just said was that the new iPhone is going to be announced on. Was it announced on April 15th and comes out on the 21st? He has very specific dates, so it seems a little one-on-one. I'm talking with somebody very specific.
Needless to say, his sources are very high up.
9to5Mac actually published an article on April 2nd, so this was after my claim of mid-April, April 15th. They claimed that the iPhone SE could be announced as early as the following Friday. The next day, Friday was April 3rd. The article came out on April 2nd. And I don't know if you know this, but 3 and 15 aren't exactly close numbers. Now, who do you think the internet was more inclined to believe? Not me. So this went on April 3rd when the phone didn't come out, but then every day up until April 5th.
I remember this. John couldn't wait to stick it to 9 to 5 Mac. He couldn't wait.
At the end of the day, literally none of this matters. It's just tech stuff. We'll do the same thing next year and every year until we're dead. It's all the same. I just want to make it fun. I want to make you laugh. I want to put on a show for the audience. I want to make all this boring stuff not that.
That's true, but there's one other thing that he doesn't say here that's actually really important. He said multiple times other places and to me privately. While all that is true, it's incredibly important for him to establish himself as credible. So it wasn't just about having fun and that sort of stuff. It was about establishing his credibility because he knew that he was on the precipice of doing that very thing.
And before you know it, April 15th is here. I go ahead and confirm the final official marketing name, the price as well, but I then went on to leak the exact time that the press release will drop. Literally down to the minute. Just like that, at 11 a.m. EST on the dot, the iPhone SE 2020 is official. And right there, that is when it happened.
Now, all the way up until that moment and the hours before I was on a text with John. He was so nervous. And at one point mentioned that this might be the last time he leaks. It's interesting he didn't mention that here because it was so stressful to him that he wanted to take some time off and that the stress may have been too much for him. And at one point, I encouraged him to just take a lot of time off and consider not doing this again. Apple had come after him very directly and had been, I don't know, even asking people around him if they knew who he was. So it was very stressful. But, you know, John got a taste of victory and, you know what happens after that.
And it showed that you didn't have to have an established track record in order to be telling the truth. And that's how I did it. That's how I ruined Apple leaks. Now, there are more Twitter accounts than I can count, just tweeting out absolute nonsense, claiming to have crazy, unprecedented access. At one point, even claiming that they were at the filming of an Apple event.
This bothered John for a couple of reasons. I talked to him multiple times about this. And actually, I was on a call with him when he came up with what you're about to see.
Anyone can say anything and get a few minutes of press coverage without any risk, without using their real name, because their bullshit Twitter account is Apple Leaker 007-90210P90X or whatever. And then when they f up and get caught, oh wow, they'll just make another one. These Twitter accounts will say anything, and the news websites will cover anything.
And here we go, because what's next was pretty brilliant.
How do I know? How do I know that these fake Twitter accounts can just say fake things, people will fall for the fake things, and then the media will cover the fake things? Because I'm one of them. While making this video to prove a point, I started a fake Twitter account, complete with its own leaker-like profile image. Ooh, very suspicious. Named it Apple Leaks and tweeted a couple of fake leaks. One about a new subscription service called Apple Arcade Plus, and another about a super exclusive color coming to iPhone Mini. Had a few of my friends retweet to get the ball.
Here's something interesting. If you look at these three DMs, you'll notice one of them is Gregory McFadden, who is my co-host on GadgetCast. Link is in the description below. Now, here's what's interesting about this. Number one, Greg never told me he was a part of this. However, Greg, I, and John talked about doing this exact thing months ago. We were on a call after a GadgetCast episode, and we must have talked for 2 hours. And this was one of the things we talked about, was having a fake leaking account. We came up with names and ideas and all this other stuff, and we laughed our asses off the entire time. And, you know, once we got off the call, I knew he was going to do it. I just didn't know when. It's so weird that this recently happened, as you can see, according to this, about a month ago. And Greg never told me. Yeah, we talk every week on a podcast. He could have DM'd me or said, hey, John's doing that thing we talked about. And he didn't tell me. Well, that means two things. Number one, he's good at keeping secrets. Number two, what else are you holding from me, Greg? We're going to have a talk.
rolling, and wouldn't you know it, it gained thousands of followers, and the leaks made it onto media websites. And then, even the so-called real Twitter leakers bought it. They believed it. Even Reddit, who refuses to believe anything Jon Prosser says ever because Jon Prosser is a fraud, somehow ate these fake leaks up.
And by the way, much like in that conversation that we all three had, this was literally what Jon was trying to do, to get people to report on it and to get everyone to accept it just because it's not Jon Prosser. And he was successful. Think about that for a moment. That's kind of crazy.
From a Twitter account with zero track record. Don't believe everything you see online. Maybe I've created a somewhat permanent problem in the tech space.
You have, Jon, but that's not necessarily a bad thing. You see, you blew up and people want that clout. I actually did a video about this a couple of months ago, so make sure you check that out. I'll leave a link in the description. But that's kind of the thing. So many people want to be famous, but they don't want to put their name behind it. That's why they have these random Twitter accounts. It's kind of pathetic, to be perfectly honest. They just make stuff up, and as Jon just proved, people can fall for it. So, yes, Jon did it. He got one over on you. And for the people that are wondering, yes, Jon will be back on the regular. Jon and Front Page Tech are back. And I, for one, welcome them. Look, I got some videos right here. Just check these videos out. You'll like them. And peace and love. And again, I don't know how to end this because usually bye.